In January 2025, Russia and Iran signed a strategic partnership, escalating tensions as Trump threatens to bomb Iran's nuclear sites if talks fail by May. This defense and trade deal, backed by China's naval drills, challenges U.S. dominance and risks NATO's collapse. Russia warns of catastrophic consequences, while ex-posts fear a global showdown. Why is this pact defying Trump, and what's at stake? We'll unpack the news, background, and fallout in 6 steps, delivering unfiltered truth for libertarian uncensored. No fluff, just the facts to navigate this crisis. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Russia-Iran signed. On January 17, 2025, Russia and Iran ratified a 20-year strategic partnership in Moscow covering defense, trade, and energy, replacing a 2001 agreement. Chapter 2. Background of U.S.-Iran tensions. In 2015, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, limited Iran's nuclear program for sanctions relief, backed by the U.S., Russia, China, and Europe. Trump's 2018 withdrawal reimposed sanctions, slashing Iran's oil exports from 2.5 million to 800,000 barrels daily by 2020. Iran resumed uranium enrichment, reaching 60% purity by 2024, a step from bomb grade. Biden's 2021 to 2023 talks failed, unable to guarantee no future U.S. exit. Trump's 2025 maximum pressure campaign, with new sanctions on Iran's nuclear firms and threats of bombing, pushed Tehran toward Russia. Ex-posts note Iran's skepticism of U.S. talks, seeing them as traps. This history of broken deals and threats fuels Iran's reliance on Moscow. Chapter 3. Russia's strategic goals. Russia's motives are economic and geopolitical. Sanctions from its 2022 Ukraine invasion cut trade, dropping U.S.-Russia goods imports to $3 billion 2024, down 34% from 2023. Iran's drones and missiles, numbering over $10,000, sustain Russia's war, making Tehran critical. The pact secures more, with Russia offering nuclear tech and Arctic trade routes to dodge sanctions. Moscow also seeks to counter NATO's expansion, weakened by Syria's fall, where Assad's ouster cost Russia bases. By warning of catastrophic U.S. strikes on Iran, Russia rallies anti-Western states like China and North Korea. Ex-posts praise Putin's global stand, but the risk is clear. Escalation could pull Russia into a war it can't afford, with its economy projected to shrink 1% in 2025. Chapter 4. China and allies' roles. China amplifies the pact's defiance. Its March 2025 Gulf of Oman drills with Russia and Iran, named Maritime Security Belt, involved 20 ships, signaling unity. China buys 90% of Iran's oil, 1.4 million barrels daily, funding Tehran's nuclear program despite U.S. sanctions. Beijing's diplomats back Iran's nuclear rights, stalling UN sanctions, while trade deals with India for Iranian crude bypass U.S. ports. These posts call China's role a pivot east. North Korea, tied to Russia via 2024 defense pact, joins drills, hinting at missile tech transfers to Iran. These moves counter Trump's 145% tariffs on China and sanctions on allies like the EU, exposing U.S. isolation as India stays neutral, prioritizing its own oil imports. Chapter 5. Global and NATO fallout. The pact destabilizes global markets and NATO. Iran's oil, 4% of world supply, steadies prices, but U.S. sanctions on China's refineries risk Strait of Hormuz disruptions, where 20% of crude flows. Brent crude hit $90 in April 2025, with Germany's factories cutting output 2%. Ex-posts warn of energy chaos. NATO faces internal rifts. France pushes EU autonomy. Turkey eyes Russia's gas. And Germany's 59% war-fearful public opposes U.S. B-52 flyovers. Trump's 10% EU tariffs strain allies, echoing Serbia's Russian ties. Libertarians see U.S. sanctions and bases as provocations, inflating Pentagon budgets, $886 billion in 2024, while allies hesitate, risking NATO's collapse if Iran or Russia escalates. Chapter 6. Libertarian Truth and Future. Russia and Iran's January 2025 pact, defying Trump's nuclear threats, exposes U.S. maximum pressure as a failure. Moscow's tech and trade, China's oil buys, and North Korea's drills form an anti-U.S. bloc, fueled by sanctions that hurt Americans. Gas up 8%, markets down 5%. Libertarians know sanctions rob the poor, bases provoke, and war profiteers thrive, with NATO's $1.2 trillion budget bloating. Ex-posts fear a nuclear spiral, as Iran's 60% uranium and Russia's warnings risk war. Talks in Oman falter, with Iran demanding sanctions relief Trump won't give. Will bombing follow, or a deal? This axis challenges globalist control, but at what cost? Share your take below. Subscribe to Libertarian Uncensored for unfiltered truth.